this minority in America. Instead, they remain one of the poorest. The average Navajo's income is less than $1,900 a year.
I know we get money from uranium, from oil, from coal, from all of that, but none of us know how much money we get, and they are supposed to be Navajo money. The leasing of land, very technically can take place without any consultation with anybody, except the few elected leaders of the tribe. So that, any small payout to any one person, can carry a lot of weight.
Lease revenues did not reach the people who most needed help. Men who had worked the uranium mines in the 40s were now dying of lung cancer. Neither they nor their widows have been compensated.
I went to Washington 2 times. We need help to somehow. So we need really help financial way. But I always even forget the Kermit didn't tell us how dangerous this thing. So all my people and my husband, they killed just like combat soldiers. They should think more about safety this time.
Another miner, Donald Rowe, built his house with the debris from a uranium mine.
Donald built his house himself. We didn't know that it was dangerous. Donald has the same with radiation too. He has a stroke from that. That's what the doctor said. He's paralyzed. We lived in this house for 30 years. It's right from the mine. And he gets us sick very often now. I'm sick today because it's too hot in the house and it gets worse.
Kerr McGee, United Nuclear, and other mining companies have left thousands of tons of radioactive waste on and around the reservation. This debris will pollute the water and poison the air for 80,000 years. The birth defect ratio on the Navajo reservation is twice the national average. Exposure to radiation is the probable cause. Rather than face this reality, the Department of the Interior waived 13 of its own environmental protection regulations, urging the Tribal Council to approve another uranium lease.
People will come around to the old people's homes with an Indian man or Navajo man. They say, "Grandma, put your thumbprint here, you'll get lots of money." They do that, and then the elderly person will think, well, why should they lie? They're Navajo. They're saying grandma. They're saying they're using all this relationship terms, and then 5-6 years lapse, and all this drilling goes on. The land's been ruined. There's nothing for the sheep to eat, and then after all this, the company will bring out like 5 bales of hay. This is where the damage is that we caused you.
The nation's hoop is broken and scattered. There is no center any longer, and the sacred tree is dead.
It is no longer possible to separate environmental issues from Native American survival. The 1970s saw the birth of Indian activism. 100 years of surrender to the white man's will had brought nothing but poverty and humiliation to Indians and destruction to the earth itself. Indians began demonstrating, demanding that their treaty rights, their right to self-determination, be respected.
The Trail of Broken Treaties is a reflection that Indian people are no longer going to tolerate the kinds of conditions that we've been subjected to for the past 200 years.
4 of the 10 largest coal strip mines in the country are on Indian land, and we don't have that much land left. We got 4% of our original land base, but we're producing all that coal.
I don't like any of the people to be killed with the things that are digged from under our Mother Earth. The mother cannot kill any of her children, and we are all her children.
The mood of the 1970s in Indian countries, this was the peak of Indian militancy, of Indian resistance, of Indian pride and assertion and red power. And there were demonstrations at the Peabody mine. Navajos, for a time, occupied the place. This created a climate of fear in southern Arizona that the Navajos were going to play hardball.
The Navajo living inside the Hopi reservation shared control of the minerals with the Hopi. To gain control of as much of the minerals as possible, John Boyden proposed legislation that would divide the Hopi reservation between the two tribes. The Hopi Tribal Council, under John Boyden's control, hired a public relations firm to convince Congress to partition the land. They created a land dispute.
A climate of hysteria was manufactured back in the early 1970s. Congress was made to believe that unless it intervened with this piece of legislation, there was going to be a bloodbath between the two tribes. The Navajos and the Hopis were about to go to war, and that Congress would have blood on its hands unless it passed legislation that would stop this. Well, I mean, that's just patently false.
At its very inception, the traditional Hopi leaders opposed the legislation, opposed the litigation that sought to partition and relocate and so forth.
We want the world to know that it's not these Hopi leaders, Kikmawis, traditional people, are involved in this kind of a plan to relocate the Navajos. Today you see all Indians all over the land, all saying the same thing. This is our homeland, this is our birthright. They don't want any white man comes in here and tell us that you have to divide this up this way or that way. The white man doesn't own this land. Just because he has a gun, he said, I took your land.
Let's not forget, Peabody has a contract with both the Navajo and Hopi tribes to mine coal in this area. If Peabody does not have to relocate Navajos, if the Navajos are already gone, it makes their job easier. The dominant political figures who have been involved are Senator Barry Goldwater, former Senator Paul Fannin, and former Representative Sam Steiger, all of Arizona, all of whom had a great credibility back in Washington talking about a local Indian situation. Most people back in Washington could not presume to understand what was happening out here in a corner of Arizona, and they deferred to the presumed expertise of these three men. And these three men, it seems to me, distorted the situation terribly and misunderstood what was going on out here.
I really don't think that the majority of the members of Congress understood exactly what the issue was.
Harrison Lesh pushed the bill through Congress. He then left the Department of the Interior to become a vice president of Peabody Coal.
Are we ready? Ready, sir.
In 1974, Congress passed Public Law 93531. President Gerald Ford signed the bill into law on a ski vacation in Vail, Colorado. Fencing along the new boundary line began at once. The cost to the taxpayer was $4,000 a mile. The cost to the native people was their way of life. This metal barrier, erected by bureaucrats, shattered the lives of the Navajo